Captain Jake Morrison took another bite of his ham sandwich and steered the ship through a cluster of spinning rocks. Each rock was the size of a small building, moving fast enough to turn his ship into metal dust. Jake didn't seem worried. He was more concerned about the mustard dripping on his uniform. "Jake, you might want to slow down," said Dr. Lisa Grant from the seat next to him. She was watching the alien ship that had been following them for the past hour. "I think they're trying to talk to us." Jake glanced at the massive vessel through the window. It was 3 times bigger than their ship and covered in strange lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. "Yeah, I see them. Pretty fancy looking." "Think they're friendly?" Lisa shrugged. "Only one way to find out." She pressed a button on the control panel. "This is Dr. Lisa Grant of the Earth ship New Horizon. Can you understand us?" Inside the alien research vessel Quantum Meridian, chaos was breaking out. Zethkalar, a tall reptilian creature with green scales and 4 arms, was staring at his instruments in complete shock. His long tail twitched nervously as he read the impossible data. "Vrix, are you seeing this?" he hissed to his partner. Vrix looked like a giant praying mantis crossed with a computer, with multiple eyes and thin arms that moved like liquid metal. "The small vessel is moving through the asteroid field at maximum velocity." Vrix clicked in response. "This should be impossible. No organic life form has reflexes fast enough to navigate such obstacles." Zethkalar checked his scanner again. "But they are organic. Very strange organic forms. The readings make no sense at all." On the human ship, Jake finished his sandwich and wiped his hands on his pants. "Lisa, tell them we're friendly. Use that space language you learned." Lisa cleared her throat and spoke slowly. "Greetings, star travelers. We come in peace from the 3rd planet of Sol System. We wish to exchange knowledge and friendship." Her pronunciation was terrible, but the aliens understood most of it. Zethkalar nearly fell from his chair. "Vrix, did you hear that?" They learned. "Galactic Standard. How is this possible?" Vrix's multiple eyes focused on different screens at once. "According to our records, we first detected their radio signals only 6 months ago. No species learns our language in such a short time. Maybe they're not as primitive as we thought," Zethkalar muttered. Jake was now steering around a particularly large asteroid while humming an old Earth song. To him, this was just another day at work. He had flown through much worse during the war on Mars. At least these rocks weren't shooting back at him. "Human vessel, please reduce your speed," came the alien voice through their radio. It sounded nervous. "The asteroid field is extremely dangerous." Jake laughed. "Dangerous? This is nothing. You should see the traffic around Earth on a Monday morning." Lisa gave him a sharp look. "Jake, be polite." "I am being polite," Jake said, spinning the ship sideways to slip between 2 colliding asteroids. "I didn't tell them about the time I flew through a meteor storm while half drunk." The aliens watched in horror as the human ship danced through the deadly field like it was a gentle breeze. Every movement should have been their last, but somehow they kept flying. "This is impossible," Zethkalar whispered. "Their reaction time is beyond anything we have recorded." Vrix was running deep scans on the humans. The results made no sense. "Zethkalar, look at these biological readings. Their bodies appear to be in constant states of damage and repair. They should be dead." "What do you mean?" "Their cells are breaking down and rebuilding continuously. Their blood contains toxins that would kill most life forms. And their brain activity..." Vrix paused. "I cannot understand their brain activity at all." Jake finally cleared the asteroid field and brought his ship alongside the alien vessel. "There we go, nice and easy. So you folks want to meet in person?" Lisa was already putting on her best diplomatic smile. "We would be honored to meet with you face to face." 20 minutes later, they were floating in the space between the 2 ships, protected by their simple spacesuits. The aliens had set up a meeting area with breathable air and artificial gravity. Jake and Lisa stepped through the airlock to meet their first non-human intelligent life. Zethkalar and Vrix were waiting for them, along with 3 other alien scientists. They all looked nervous. "Welcome," Zethkalar said carefully. "I am Senior," Researcher Zethkalar of the Galactic Science Council. Nice to meet you, Jake said, walking forward with his hand extended. I'm Jake Morrison, captain of that little ship over there. Zethkalar stared at the offered hand, not sure what to do with it. Lisa quickly stepped in. It's a greeting custom, she explained. You grasp hands briefly to show friendship. Zethkalar slowly extended one of his four hands. Jake shook it firmly and smiled. The reptilian alien felt a strange warmth from the contact. And I'm Dr. Lisa Grant, Lisa said. I study alien life forms. Well, I guess you're not alien to you, but you know what I mean. Vrix stepped forward, his insect-like head tilting at an odd angle. Dr. Grant, we must ask, how did you learn our language so quickly? Lisa looked embarrassed. Well, we intercepted some of your transmissions a few months ago. I'm pretty good with languages, so I just figured it out. I'm probably making lots of mistakes. The aliens exchanged glances. 6 months to learn Galactic Standard was impossible. Most species took years, even with proper teaching. Captain Morrison, Zethkalar said, your flying through the asteroid field was remarkable. How did you survive such dangers? Jake scratched his head. Those little rocks? That wasn't dangerous. I've flown through worse storms on Earth. Practice. Makes perfect, I guess. Vrix attempted to scan Jake's mind, a standard procedure for first contact. The result nearly knocked him unconscious. Jake's thoughts were like a tornado of random ideas, memories, songs, and what could only be described as pure chaos. Are you okay? Lisa asked, noticing Vrix stumbling backward. Your minds, Vrix stammered. They are so chaotic. How do you think with so much noise? Jake laughed. Noise? That's just normal thinking. You should see what it's like when I'm really concentrating. The meeting continued for another hour, but the aliens only became more confused. These humans seemed impossible by every scientific standard. Yet here they were, chatting casually about their home planet like flying through deadly space was no big deal. As Jake and Lisa returned to their ship, Zethkalar turned to his team. Send a message to the Science Council, he said quietly. Tell them we need every expert we have. We just met something that shouldn't exist. Vrix was still recovering from his contact with Jake's mind. What should we classify them as? Zethkalar watched the human ship disappear into hyperspace with impossible ease. I have no idea, he admitted. No idea at all. Professor Quindar floated above his desk, his body made of pure energy crackling with frustration. In his 3,000 years of studying life forms across the galaxy, he had never been so confused. The emergency meeting at the Galactic University had been going on for 6 hours, and nobody could agree on what humans actually were. They cannot exist, declared Nexus 7, the AI collective that spoke through a floating metal sphere. Our calculations show a 99.7% probability that such beings are impossible. Yet here they are, rumbled Gorath, a massive rock creature whose voice sounded like an avalanche. I have seen the recordings. The small female one drinks liquid hot, enough to melt my outer shell. Dr. Amy Rodriguez sat quietly in the corner, trying not to laugh. She was the first human exchange student at the university, and every day brought new confusion from her alien classmates and professors. Today was supposed to be her presentation on human culture, but first they had to get through the debate about whether humans were real. Maybe we should ask the human, suggested Professor Yith, a blob-like creature with 17 eyes. She is sitting right there. All attention turned to Amy. She stood up slowly, smoothing down her simple blue dress. At 28, she was a respected anthropologist on Earth, but here she felt like a strange exhibit in a zoo. Hello, everyone, Amy said in perfect galactic standard. I know you have questions about my species. I brought my friend Ben to help explain some things. Ben Carter waved from the back of the room. He was a tall, skinny engineer with messy brown hair and oil stains on his shirt. He had been fixing things around the university for the past week, much to everyone's amazement. Ben repaired our main power generator yesterday, Professor Quindar said, his energy form flickering with confusion. That generator has been broken for 500 years. We were told it was impossible to fix. Ben shrugged. Wasn't that hard, just needed some duct tape and a paperclip. Sometimes the simple fixes work best. The entire room went silent. Gareth's rocky face somehow managed to look shocked. You fixed a quantum flux generator with tape? Nexus 7's voice actually cracked. Well, duct tape, Ben corrected. It's really good tape. We use it for everything on Earth. Amy cleared her throat. Maybe I should start my presentation now. She activated the holographic display and began showing images of Earth. This is my home planet, she said. We have about 8 billion humans living there. The first image showed a crowded city street. The aliens gasped at the chaos. Thousands of humans moved in seemingly random directions, somehow avoiding crashes. How do they not collide? Asked Professor Yith. There is no pattern to their movement. We just figure it out as we go, Amy explained. It works most of the time. The next image showed humans doing various sports. Rock climbing, surfing, skydiving, and motorcycle racing flashed across the screen. These activities appear to be deliberately dangerous, observed Nexus 7. Why do humans seek out harm? We call them extreme sports, Amy said. They're fun. Fun? Goreth leaned forward, his massive stone body creaking. You risk death for entertainment? Well, yeah. The danger is part of what makes it exciting. Several professors had to sit down. The concept of seeking danger for pleasure broke their understanding of basic survival instincts. Ben raised his hand. Can I show them the video of my cousin doing base jumping? Maybe later, Amy said quickly. She didn't want to cause any more mental breakdowns. The presentation continued with images of human food, music, and art. Each slide created more confusion. You consume the flesh of other creatures? Asked Professor Yith. All 17 eyes focused on a picture of a hamburger. Some of us do. Others only eat plants. We have many different diets. But this makes no sense. Quindar pulsed with bright energy. How can one species have so many different survival strategies? We're adaptable, Amy said simply. She showed them pictures of humans living in deserts, Arctic regions, mountains, and tropical forests. The aliens watched in growing amazement as humans survived in conditions that would kill most galactic species. This is impossible, muttered Nexus 7. No single species can adapt to such varied environments without millions of years of evolution. How long have humans existed? Asked Goreth. About 300,000 years in our current form, Amy replied. Tuttirwe. Room exploded in chatter. That was barely a blink of an eye in galactic terms. Ben had wandered over to a broken wall display and was poking at it with a screwdriver. Amy, this thing just needs a new power coupling. Should I fix it? Please don't break anything else, Professor Quindar said nervously. I won't break it, I'll fix it. Ben opened a panel and started rearranging components. Sparks flew, and then the display lit up perfectly. There we go. Good as new. The professor stared in shock. That display had been broken for decades. Amy continued her presentation, showing human families, cities, and governments. The aliens grew more confused with each slide. You organize into small groups called families? Asked Professor Yith. Yes, usually parents and children living together. But you also organize into larger groups called nations? Right. And these nations sometimes fight each other? Unfortunately, yes. While the families within those nations remain peaceful? Mostly. Nexus 7 circuit started smoking. This is contradictory behavior. You cooperate and compete simultaneously at different scales. Pretty much, Amy agreed. Ben finished with the display and noticed a flickering light fixture. He pulled out his trusty duct tape and paperclip. Ben, what are you doing now? Amy asked. This light is about to fall and hit someone, just securing it. He climbed on a chair and fixed the light in 30 seconds. The professors watched like he was performing magic. Amy reached the final slide of her presentation, which showed a simple family photo of her parents and younger brother. Any questions? She asked. The room was silent for a long moment. Then Professor Quindar spoke very slowly. Dr. Rodriguez, after reviewing all this information, I have only one question. Yes? What the actual hell is a human? Amy laughed. You know what? That's the same question we ask ourselves every day. Ben looked up from fixing another broken device. Want to see the video of my cousin base jumping now? Half the professors fainted. Later, as Amy and Ben walked back to their quarters, Amy shook her head. I think we broke their brains. Maybe, Ben said, tossing his screwdriver in the air and catching it. But hey, at least the university actually works now. Behind them, emergency medical teams were still reviving unconscious professors. In the meeting room, the remaining conscious aliens sat in stunned silence. So, Gorath finally said, are we any closer to understanding humans? Professor Quindar's energy form dimmed to almost nothing. I think we are further away than when we started. General Kate Murphy stood on the bridge of the alien command ship, watching dozens of screens show what the aliens called a Category 5 death world. The planet below looked like every nightmare rolled into one. Acid rain, poisonous air, deadly creatures, and weather that could kill in seconds. This is your most dangerous survival test? She asked Supreme Commander Thalvex, a 7-foot-tall reptilian with scars covering his green scales. Yes, General Murphy. No organic being has ever survived more than 6 hours on planet Xerion 9. We use it to test our most advanced battlesuits. Thalvex's yellow eyes studied her carefully. Are you certain you wish to proceed? Kate looked at Sergeant Danny Walsh, who was checking his equipment with the casual attitude of someone preparing for a camping trip. Danny was a short, stocky Marine with a thick Boston accent and more combat experience than most alien warriors saw in their entire lives. What do you think, Danny? Looks like fun. Danny grinned. Beats that survival training we did in Alaska. At least this place is warm. The alien military officers exchanged nervous glances. War Master Krug, a massive warrior from a species that lived for battle, stepped forward. His forearms were crossed, and his rocky skin showed the scars of 1,000 fights. Human soldiers, you do not understand. This world has gravity twice. Your planet's normal. The air will burn your lungs. The creatures hunt in packs and can tear through armor. Sounds like Tuesday, Danny said, adjusting his simple combat gear. You got any snacks for this thing? I might get hungry down there. Admiral Zarath, whose blue aquatic form floated in a water-filled suit, spoke through her translator. General Murphy, perhaps we should start with something less deadly. We have training worlds that are merely dangerous, not impossible. Kate smiled. Thanks for the concern, but we'll be fine. How long do we need to survive to pass your test? 72 hours, Thalvex replied. But as I said, no one has lasted more than 6. Well, there's a first time for everything. 2 hours later, Kate and Danny were standing on the surface of Xerion 9. The acid rain hissed when it hit their basic protective suits. In the distance, they could hear the roars of creatures that the aliens insisted were unkillable. Danny was building a shelter using local materials and some tools from his pack. You know, Kate, this reminds me of that time we got stuck in the Amazon for a week. Which time? Kate asked, setting up a communication device. The one with the giant spiders or the one with the poison frogs? Both. Hey, pass me that vine thing. I think I can make a roof with it. On the command ship above, the alien officers watched in growing amazement. The humans were not just surviving, they were making themselves comfortable. How are they not dead? War Master Krug demanded. The atmospheric readings show toxin levels that should kill them instantly. Look at their medical scanners, Admiral Zarath said. Their bodies are processing the toxins somehow. It's like they're immune to poison. Danny had finished building a surprisingly sturdy shelter and was now exploring the area around their landing site. He found some local plants and started testing them. Danny, what are you doing? Kate called out. Checking if any of this stuff is edible. Some of these fruits look pretty good. He took a bite of something that resembled a purple apple. The alien sensors went crazy as they detected enough toxins to kill a small army. He just ate concentrated death, Thalvex whispered. Why is he not dying? Danny made a face. Bit sour, but not bad. Needs salt. The first night brought the predators. Massive creatures with too many teeth and claws like swords emerged from the jungle. The aliens expected to watch the humans become dinner. Instead, they watched Kate set up a defensive perimeter with military precision, while Danny somehow tamed one of the smaller predators by sharing his military rations with it. Is that creature now helping them? Admiral Zarath asked in confusion. It appears so, Thalvex replied. This should not be possible. Those are mindless killing machines. Tell that to Spot, Danny said over the radio, scratching behind the six-eared beast's head. He's a good boy, aren't you, Spot? The creature purred like a giant cat. Day 2 brought even worse weather. Storms with lightning that could melt metal and wind strong enough to throw vehicles around. The humans took shelter in their improved base camp and played cards. Got any threes? Kate asked. Go fish, Danny replied, while a bolt of lightning struck nearby and turned sand into glass. War Master Krug was pacing the command deck, his forearms waving in agitation. They are playing games in the middle of a death storm. Their stress levels are actually decreasing, reported the medical officer. They appear to be relaxing. How is this possible? Krug demanded. On day 3, the planet threw everything. It had it the humans. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, swarms of flying creatures with acid for blood, and temperatures that shifted from freezing to boiling within minutes. Kate and Danny adapted to each challenge like they were solving simple puzzles. They used the earthquake to help them dig a better water collection system. They avoided the volcanic ash by staying in their improved shelter. They dealt with the acid blood flyers by making friends with some larger predators that ate them. This is incredible, Thalvex said, watching the humans work together to overcome impossible odds. They are not just surviving, they are thriving. Look at this, Admiral Zarath said, pointing to her screens. They have established a sustainable food source, clean water, secure shelter, and somehow created an alliance with the local predators. War Master Krug sat down heavily. His entire understanding of warfare and survival was crumbling. In 3 days, they have conquered a world that has killed our greatest warriors. The 72-hour mark passed. Kate and Danny were not only alive but had improved the local ecosystem and were teaching the predators to play fetch. Command, this is Murphy, Kate said over the radio. Test complete. Ready for pickup whenever you're ready. How do you feel? Thalvex asked. Pretty good. Danny found some local berries that make great juice. Want us to bring some up? The berries are highly toxic, the medical officer warned. To you, maybe, Danny said. To us, they're like vitamins. When they returned to the command ship, the alien officers stared at them like they were looking at ghosts. General Murphy, War Master Krug said slowly, I have fought in 100 wars across 50 worlds. I have never seen anything like what you just did. It wasn't that hard, Kate replied. Basic survival training. We learned worse stuff in boot camp. Worse than a Category 5 death world? Oh yeah, boot camp was way harder. At least that planet didn't have drill sergeants. Admiral Zarath floated closer. General, what is the most dangerous thing humans face in combat? Kate thought for a moment. Other humans. You fight your own species? All the time. We've been doing it for thousands of years. That's how we got so good at surviving impossible situations. The alien officers exchanged looks of pure terror. Let me understand this, Thalvex said carefully. You regularly fight beings as dangerous as yourselves? Pretty much. And you consider this normal? Normal? It's how we relax. You should see our sports. Football, hockey, boxing. We invented games that are basically controlled warfare. War Master Krug's voice was barely a whisper. What kind of world creates beings like you? Danny grinned. A fun one. Later, in the private meeting of military commanders, the discussion was short and decisive. New standing order, Thalvex announced. Under no circumstances are we to engage humans in combat. What if they become hostile? Asked a junior officer. War Master Krug stood up, his forearms shaking. Then we surrender immediately and hope they are feeling merciful. The meeting was adjourned with one simple conclusion written in the official records. Humans are not to be fought. Ever. Under any circumstances. This is not a suggestion. This is an order for the survival of the galaxy. Commerce Prime Veltar had been controlling galactic markets for over 800 years. His cybernetic brain could process billions of calculations per second, predict market trends with 99.8% accuracy, and manage the economic flow of entire star systems. But right now, staring at the human trade proposal on his desk, he was completely lost. "This makes no mathematical sense," he said to his assistant, a floating blob of intelligent gas named Flux. "According to every economic law we know, this deal should bankrupt both parties within a month." Flux wobbled nervously. "Should we reject the proposal from the human Sam Mitchell?" "That's the problem. Our models show it will somehow make everyone rich instead." Sam Mitchell sat across from Veltar in the Galactic Trade Federation headquarters, wearing a simple business suit and a confident smile. He was a former Wall Street analyst who had volunteered to handle Earth's first major trade negotiations. To him, alien economics were just another market to figure out. "Look, Veltar, I know it seems weird, but trust me on this. We sell you coffee beans, you give us raw materials, everyone wins." "But the price ratios are completely wrong," Veltar protested. "You are charging almost nothing for a luxury item while we pay premium rates for basic materials." Sam shrugged. "Coffee isn't luxury to us, we drink it every day. But those rare metals you consider worthless, we can do amazing things with them." Merchant Lord Zeif floated into the meeting room, his gaseous form shimmering with confusion. As the controller of most shipping lanes, he had seen Sam's friend Tony Ricci doing something impossible at the trading station. "Veltar, we have a problem. The other human is selling Earth rocks for enormous profits." "Rocks?" Sam asked. "Oh, you mean Tony's souvenir business? Yeah, he's pretty good at that." Tony Ricci had arrived on the trading station 3 days earlier, with a suitcase full of what he called authentic Earth specimens: smooth river stones, pieces of driftwood, pressed flowers, and bottles of seawater. Things that cost him nothing to collect were now the hottest items in the galaxy. "How is this possible?" Zeif demanded. "They are just ordinary materials." "Not to you guys," Tony had explained to his alien customers. "These come from the legendary human homeworld. Each rock has been touched by human hands. Each flower has grown in human soil. You can't get more authentic than that." The aliens were buying them faster than Tony could stock them. A simple pebble from a California beach was worth more than precious gems from distant worlds. Back in the meeting room, Sam was trying to explain human economics to increasingly confused alien minds. "See? The secret is supply and demand, but also psychology and marketing and a little bit of luck." "That is not how economics work," Veltar said, his circuits sparking with frustration. "It's how human economics work." Helen Brooks entered the room carrying a stack of papers and looking annoyed. She was a human accountant who had been reviewing the galactic financial systems for the past week. What she found had given her a headache. "Sam, we need to talk," she said. "I found some problems with their math." "Problems?" Veltar asked nervously. Helen sat down and spread out her papers. "Your entire economic system has been calculating interest wrong for the past 300 years. Also, your supply chain management is a disaster. And don't get me started on your tax structure. That is impossible," Flux said, wobbling rapidly. "Our systems have been checked by the greatest mathematical minds in the galaxy." "Yeah, well, they all made the same basic error in compound calculations. Look here." Helen pointed to a formula on her paper. "This should be exponential growth, but you've been using linear progression." Veltar stared at the numbers. His advanced cybernetic brain ran the calculations over and over, and each time he got the same impossible result. This means the galactic economy should be 700 times larger than it currently is." "Exactly. You've been leaving money on the table for centuries." Sam leaned back in his chair. "Helen's really good with numbers. She once found $1 million error in a company's books that their own computers missed." "How?" Geif asked. I looked at it. Helen said simply, "Sometimes the obvious answer is the right one." Tony walked into the meeting carrying a bag full of credits and grinning widely. "Hey guys, just sold my last batch. These aliens love Earth stuff. I'm thinking of expanding into branded merchandise." "Branded merchandise?" Veltar asked weakly. No t-shirts that say, 'My friend went to Earth and all I got was this t-shirt.' Coffee mugs with Earth pictures. Maybe some keychains shaped like humans." "You want to sell images of your own species?" "Why not? We do it all the time back home. Tourism is a huge business." Zweif was floating in slow circles, a sign of extreme confusion in his species. "But you are selling representations of yourselves to beings who have never seen your world." "That's what makes it special," Tony explained. "Exclusive Earth merchandise, available nowhere else in the galaxy." Helen was still working on the economic calculations. "Sam, if we implement these corrections to their system, the entire galactic economy will triple in size within a year." "Is that good or bad?" Sam asked. "Good for everyone as long as they don't panic." Veltar's circuits were now smoking. "Dr. Brooks, are you saying that humans have solved economic problems that have puzzled us for millennia?" "I'm saying you were overthinking it. Sometimes simple solutions work better than complicated ones." Tony pulled out a bottle of water from his bag. "Anyone want to buy some genuine Earth water? It's got electrolytes." "What are electrolytes?" Flux asked. "Honestly, I have no idea, but the marketing department says they're important." 3 aliens immediately pulled out credits to buy bottles. Sam stood up and looked around the room. "So, are we going to make this trade deal happen or what?" Veltar slowly nodded. "Yes, but I must warn you. If these economic changes are implemented, galaxy-wide, it will cause massive shifts in power, wealth distribution, and market dynamics." "Cool. When do we start?" "You are not concerned about the potential chaos?" Sam laughed. "Buddy, we invented chaos. We call it the free market. And somehow, it usually works out." Helen finished her calculations and looked up. "Oh, I almost forgot. Your currency exchange rates are wrong too. You've been undervaluing small denominations and overvaluing large ones." "What does that mean?" Zeif asked fearfully. "It means that little coin you use for buying snacks, it's actually worth about 1,000 times more than you think." Silence filled the room. Tony grinned. "I'll take payment in small coins for my next shipment." Later that day, emergency meetings were held across the galaxy as the economic implications of human trade began to sink in. The humans had not just joined the galactic economy, they had accidentally fixed it. In the main conference room, the most powerful economic minds in the galaxy sat around a table, staring at Helen's corrected calculations. "So, Merchant Lord," Galwife said slowly, "the humans have solved our supply problems, corrected our mathematical errors, created new markets we never imagined, and somehow made everyone richer in the process." "That appears to be correct," Veltar confirmed. "And they did this by accident?" "They say it was just common sense." The room fell quiet. Finally, one of the junior economists raised a tentative hand. "Should we ask them to look at our retirement? Systems next?" Everyone turned to stare at him. "What?" he said defensively. "If they can fix 800 years of economic mistakes in 1 week, imagine what they could do with our pension plans." Veltar's circuit sparked one more time before he shut down completely to prevent permanent damage. "Someone call the medical team," Zeif sighed. "And get me whatever Tony Ricci is selling. I need something to calm my nerves." "He's got some Earth tea that's supposed to be relaxing." "Perfect. I'll take a case." The Cosmic Assembly Hall was the largest meeting place in the known galaxy. Representatives from every intelligent species gathered in the massive chamber that floated in deep space, surrounded by stars. Today, for the first time in galactic history, they were all here to discuss a single topic: humans. President Maria Santos walked to the speaking platform in the center of the hall, wearing a simple black business suit. She was the first human president to address the galactic community, and she had no idea that her speech was about to accidentally solve 3 wars and start 2 new ones. "Hello, everyone," Maria said into the translator microphone. "Thank you for inviting Earth to join this assembly. We're excited to be here. In the audience, thousands of alien eyes, sensors, and energy forms focused on her. The Eternal Observer, an ancient cosmic entity that had watched the galaxy for millions of years, leaned forward with interest. This was the first time in its long existence that it felt genuinely curious about a new species. Ambassador Rick Taylor stood nearby, ready to help with diplomatic issues. Rick was a veteran ambassador who had somehow become very good at alien relations, mostly by treating every species like they were his neighbors back in Ohio. "Before we begin formal discussions," said Unity of All, the collective consciousness representing the pacifist species, "we must address the fundamental question that has puzzled us for months." "Which question is that?" Maria asked. "What exactly? Are humans?" Maria smiled. "Well, that's a big question. We're a species from Earth. We evolved from earlier primates, developed language and tools, built civilizations, and eventually reached space. Pretty standard evolution story, really. Prime Intellect Kalos, a synthetic being with processing power greater than entire star systems, spoke up. "President Santos, our analysis indicates that humans have a 99.97% probability of being impossible, yet a 100% probability of existing. How do you explain this contradiction?" "I don't know," Maria said honestly. "We just exist. Sometimes we don't understand it either." The Eternal Observer made a sound like cosmic wind through empty space. "In my millions of years, I have cataloged every form of life in this galaxy. Humans are the first to confuse me completely." Rick stepped forward. "If it helps, we confuse ourselves too. Just last week, I watched a guy jump out of a perfectly good airplane with nothing but a piece of fabric to keep him alive. When I asked him why, he said it was fun." Several aliens in the audience made sounds of distress. "This brings us to our first concern," announced Speaker Threx, representing the warrior species. "Human military capabilities appear to exceed all known limits." "We're not that tough," Maria said. "We just adapt well to difficult situations. General Murphy and Sergeant Walsh conquered a Category 5 death world in 3 days." Threx continued. "Our greatest warriors cannot survive 6 hours on such planets." "Kate and Danny are good soldiers," Maria agreed. "But they're not unusual for humans. We have millions of people with similar training." The entire assembly went quiet. The idea of millions of beings like Kate Murphy was terrifying to species that considered her impossible. "What about human economics?" asked Commerce Master Velt, whose species controlled galactic trade. "Your people have caused unprecedented changes to our markets." Rick laughed. "Oh, you mean Sam and Tony and Helen? Yeah, they're pretty smart with money stuff. Helen especially. She's an accountant. Those folks can make numbers do magic. They corrected mathematical errors that had existed for centuries," Velt said weakly. "Helen's really good at spotting mistakes. Back home, she once caught an error that 3 different computer systems missed." Unity of All pulsed with confusion. "We have observed that humans simultaneously cooperate and compete, create and destroy, seek safety and danger. How is this possible?" Maria thought for a moment. "I guess we're complicated. We like having options. But these are contradictory behaviors." Prime Intellect Kalos pointed out. "Not really. Sometimes you need to work together, sometimes you need to compete. Sometimes you want to be safe, sometimes you want adventure. Depends on the situation." The Eternal Observer spoke again, its voice echoing through space. "President Santos, we have gathered here to understand your species because you have changed everything. Your people have revolutionized our science, our military thinking, our economics, and our philosophy. Yet you act as if this is normal. It is normal," Maria said. "For us anyway. We're just doing what humans do." "And what is it that humans do?" asked the observer. Maria looked around the vast assembly, seeing hundreds of different species all waiting for her answer. She thought about Jake flying through asteroids while eating lunch, Amy explaining human culture to confused professors, Kate and Danny turning a death world into a camping trip, and Helen fixing centuries of economic mistakes. "We figure things out as we go," she said finally. We don't always know what we're doing, but we try anyway. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we fail, but we keep trying. That is not a scientific approach, protested Dr. Zilf, the galaxy's leading expert on logic. No, but it works for us. Rick stepped up to the microphone. If I can add something, humans are really good at three things. We adapt to whatever situation we're in, we help each other when we need to, and we never give up. Everything else is just details. But how do you make decisions without complete information? Asked Unity of All. Best guess and hope for the best, Rick said with a shrug. Sometimes you gotta wing it. The phrase wing it caused several translators to malfunction as they tried to explain the concept of making important decisions based on intuition and hope. Prime intellect. Kalos ran calculations for several minutes, then spoke carefully. I have analyzed all available data on humans. My conclusion is that you operate on principles that should not work, but somehow do. That sounds about right, Maria agreed. The Eternal Observer floated closer to the platform. President Santos, I must ask the question that every species here wants answered. How do humans consistently achieve impossible results? Maria smiled. I honestly don't know. We just do our best and hope it works out. That is not an answer, Dr. Zilf protested. It's the only answer I have. The assembly fell into confused discussions. Every species presented their theories about humans. Failed genetic experiment, evolutionary accident, cosmic punishment, a universe debugging error, divine joke, beneficial chaos entity. After hours of debate, the Eternal Observer called for silence. I propose a resolution, it announced. Humans shall be officially classified as beneficial anomaly. Do not attempt to understand. What does that mean? Asked Speaker Threx. It means we accept that humans are impossible but helpful. We stop trying to figure them out and just appreciate what they bring to the galaxy. The vote was unanimous. A new galactic law was passed. When humans are involved, normal rules may not apply. This is not a bug in the universe. This is a feature. As the assembly began to break up, Maria turned to Rick. Well, that went better than expected. Yeah, not bad for first contact with the whole galaxy. So what do you think we should do now? Rick looked around at the thousands of alien species, all still staring at the humans with mixtures of confusion, fear, and admiration. I don't know about you, but I'm getting hungry. Think they have a cafeteria in this place, Maria laughed. Only one way to find out. As they walked away, 3 alien ambassadors fainted at the casual way humans approached yet another unknown situation. The Eternal Observer watched them go and made a note in its cosmic records. Humans, impossible, illogical, chaotic, essential. Do not question, just observe and enjoy the show. Somewhere in the distance, Rick could be heard asking an alien janitor if they knew where to get a good sandwich around here. The galaxy would never be the same, and somehow, that was exactly what it needed.